Let's make sure your next adventure starts in the driveway, not on the side of the highway. Hey everyone, it's James Wade with Bluegrass Truck, Bus, and RV in Georgetown, Kentucky. I recently completed my CDL training and received my commercial driver's license, and it got me thinking. A lot of people that own RVs do not have their CDL. And do they do a proper walk around and inspection before they leave the driveway? So I just wanted to make a video today, kind of talk about some of the points through like the CDL training that they would tell you to inspect on a pre-trip inspection, and see if we can apply it to the RV side. This might not be a complete how you would do an inspection. You might add your own stuff to it, but this is typically what I would do before I took off on a trip. So let's get started. So on a typical CDL test, if you're going to get your commercial driver's license, it starts inside the cab. You'll check your functions of your turn signals, your heater. You'll usually do a brake test, but like I said, we'll do another video on that. That way this doesn't extend too long. So let's get started on the in-cab portion. First, you'll make sure that you do have fuel and DEF, that your air gauges are up to operating to where you can release or set the brakes. You'll check your turn signals, your left turn signal, right turn signal, four-way flashers, and to see if your brights come on. So now that we've checked that, we'll do an inspection. Make sure there's no cracks or damage to the windshield or any stickers that are being in the way, that your rear-facing camera is operating correctly and turns on and you have full vision of the rear. And you also check your wiper blades to make sure that they're good. I'm inside the showroom right now, but we'll just make sure that they go across the windshield with no obstructions. And then you test windshield washer fluid as well, just to make sure. But since we're inside the dealership right now, I'm not going to check that function. So you also will come over to make sure that you have proper heat coming out of the windshield for defrost, and at the floor too, to provide heat if there was some type of emergency where you'd be stuck on the highway in cold temperatures. At this point, you would do the brake test. We'll do that in another video, but it might also be worth, and probably in the long run, the best thing to have somebody outside of the unit as well, so you can do a light check to make sure that even though they're showing operating on the dash, that they're operating outside of the coach as well. You'd also check your mirrors, make sure they're adjusted so you can see clearly out of them, and make sure they're not cracked, damaged, or loose. Now we'll head outside for the outside portion. Alright, so now that we're on the outside of the unit, we're going to take a look and make sure that all our marker lights are in place. They're all the right color. And a good rule of thumb that I learned from the class that I went and took to get my CDL, you can use CDL as an acronym for cracked, damaged, loose, or leaking, depending on if you're talking about liquids such as oil, or if you're talking about mirrors, brackets, or marker lights. We'll also check underneath to make sure it doesn't look like the suspension is leaning one way or another, and that there's no fluid underneath there such as coolant or oil present that you can see leaking underneath. There is a little bit of water underneath there. It's a very humid day here in Georgetown, Kentucky, so when I pulled it in with the AC on, I had to have that AC running in the heat. So now we're going to look, make sure none of our headlights are damaged. Still no visible cracks on the windshield, and now we'll go underneath the hood. So you'll want to check your oil level, your transmission level, coolant level, power steering fluid, and make sure that your your fuel filter base is not leaking. One of the other things to check is take a look at your steering gear here. You want to make sure nothing's cracked, damaged, or loose on that. All the nuts are present and all cotter pins are in place. That your drag link All nuts are present. It's not cracked, damaged, or loose. And all cotter pins are in place. Tie rod assembly is not cracked, damaged, loose, or bent. And that your U-bolts are there with all bolts attached. So once you check that, check your steering rod, everything's in check underneath the hood. Actually pull the dipsticks, check the level before every time driving it, just to make sure that your oil level is good, and always check coolant level as well. We'll take a look around here at the brakes. Make sure that there is no substance on them, such as grease or brake fluid or oil. Everything looks good and in place. You will check tire pressure. Make sure that it's all, I know there's a lot of talks on forums and everything on where people keep their tire pressure. So if you know you specifically keep it, it will just say 100 pounds. Actually check it with a gauge. Make sure that they're up to the right PSI. Take a look at your tires. Make sure there's no cracks in the tire. All the treads look good. There's no fraying in the bands or anywhere, or any bulges. The other thing I forgot to touch on is make sure you have no leaks coming from your power steering fluid, and that your brake line here is not frayed or cracked, and all of the connections look secure. If you don't have wheel covers on like these to cover the lug nuts, you'll take a look at the lug nuts, or you can pop them off and take a look at them. I would recommend popping them off, especially if you're going on a long road trip, just to check them. Make sure all the lug nuts are present. Make sure there's no rust marks on there to show a loose nut, and make sure that they're all present. Check and make sure your mirror brackets are good and on tight and not cracked, damaged, or loose. Fuel cap's present. DEF is present. Come and check batteries. Make sure on the batteries you do not see any corrosion, that all of your battery cables are tight, so there are no issues with the electrical going down the road. Then for the RV, I also do a walk around on the outside of it. I usually lock all the storage compartments before I drive off. I had one when I was part of the service department. I didn't check the storage doors. One was open. Some stuff fell out, and that was on me. You should do a check every time. Usually I'll come through and lock all these and then make sure they're secure. Make sure my power cord is reeled up, and then I check underneath as well to make sure that all the leveling jacks are up, so when I take off I don't have a problem. On some of these, on like the older units where you had the antennas that would pop up, if you can physically check and make sure that antenna is not up and you don't have any kind of clearance issues at the top, that if you're going to go through a low clearance area where you knew the coach itself could get through there, but you do have an antenna on the top, then I would check that to make sure you do have it down at the time you take off. Like I said, I do a walk around on the outside of it, check all the storage compartment doors, make sure they're all secured and locked. That way I don't have any issues. Check the rear tires, again with a gauge. Make sure there's no bulges in it, cracks, and the treads are good on it. Power cord is reeled in. Everything looks good on the back. This is where you could have somebody come behind it and you could test all your lights and turn signals to make all sure your brake lights, turn signals, four-way flashers are all working as well. Go down through here and check the compartments again on this side. Make sure they're all secured and locked. You don't have any drain hoses still sitting out from at a campground where you drained. Check mirrors and tires on the other side of the coach as well, just to make sure that all your PSIs are correct. I know in the dash you got your actual tire pressure monitoring system, but those are finicky and not always the best tell. It's best to check it for yourself. Washer fluid's full and coolant is full like we checked on the other side. You can even look down through here and check your belts. Make sure there's no fraying on the belts and tensioners are not loose. And then that's a quick rundown of the outside of the vehicle, but it's best to do your inspections before you actually hit the road. That way you can enjoy your trip and not have to worry about it when you can preventively do this and check everything before you leave. Again, this was James Wade with Bluegrass Truck, Bus, and RV in Georgetown, Kentucky. Thanks for checking out the video today. If you feel like there's added stuff in there that you would add to your inspection, or there's tips or tricks you have for other people in the RV community that you think would be beneficial to them, please comment down in the comment section, throw some input in there, and we can have a good discussion. Thank you for your time.